We did an earned value of 120 versus a 70 of the actual cost. So it's 120 over 70, which means that we are saving money, 1.71. We are making huge cost savings, but we're late likely because we are doing 120 over 150. So we are just performing 0.8 on the time schedule. So it looks like our hardware suppliers are much cheaper than expected, but very inefficient. And they're delivering their hardware supplies on a very slow pace. You're late, right? So now what would you do? What would you do? That's our case scenario. What would you do? Propose corrective actions, if any. Aren't you going to understanding impact on the cost estimate at completion and time estimate at completion of your current performance? Right? So if we do nothing, let's start with the do nothing scenario. If we do nothing, would you please calculate for the cost estimate at completion and time estimate at completion, please? How much is your project going to be expensive and how long is going to be a project? Please. Activity A was on time, so 8 weeks long. Plus, how long this tasks? 8 divided by 0.8 because the C is going to be longer, right? Plus D, plus E, plus F, plus G. And that's the duration. Can I go with this? So it's going to be 8, which was on time, A, plus duration of B or C, the longest. The C is critical. So it's 8 over 0.80 plus D. How long is going to be D? No risk will be incurred in the future because all issues have been solved. 6, as planned. What about E? 4. What about F? 8, because it's your crash to plan. Plus G, 4. And the total time estimate at completion equals 8 divided 0.8, 9.6. Yes, please.
After those rent 8.
So yeah, but because in our plane F is crashed, right?
But so we have to add the cost.
Duration equals, this is 10. 8 plus 10, 18. 24, 28, 36, 40. Cost estimate at completion. How much is the cost estimate at completion? 8 A is experienced as 0.91, so I can go back to computer here just to show you how much was the cost incurred. Let's go line by line to cost estimates. 330 was the cost incurred for A, which is done, plus 540 divided by the cost index plus 300 divided cost index plus future. What would you do for future? Past is past. Future is future. And is past a good predictor of future performance? Is past performance going to be used as a predictor of future performance or not? Let's go into understanding the nature, the type of those tasks. When it comes to activities that have same nature, such as design activities in the past and design activities in the future, past performance is a good indicator of future performance, because designers are the people that were involved in the past and will be projecting their same productivity in the future. But here, you think that the hardware procurement is going to influence in system setup. Are those activities independent or dependent? It depends on the type of human resources and production factors that are involved. If you think that spending more money in the user needs and the software would also incur into more money in system setup, pre-test, integration, and final test, probably you should use past performance also in the future. So please make your assumption now. Do you think it's more reasonable to think that past performance would influence future performance? Same resources or not? Well, pre-test and test, it's the same, but pre-test and test is future tasks. Integration with ERP's software development, which is the same as what we do. Hardware procurement is different. What do we do? There's no wrong solution here. We don't have enough information. Just make a decision and either you go with a revised approach or an original approach. Let's go with revised approach. We think that past cost performance will also apply to future. If this is the case, you need to calculate for an average cost index and apply the average cost index to completion. How much is the average cost index so far? Average cost index equals the total budgeted cost of work performed over the total actual cost of work performed, which is as much as 300 plus 360 plus 120, 680 over 330 plus 280 plus 70, which is 680, right? Am I right? Is this equals to this in total? So cost index equal to 1. So total, so far, we spend more on the system, on the user needs analysis. We spend more on software development, but we saved a huge amount of money in the hardware. So cost index is aligned with expected performance, so we're not going to incur into any cost increase. No cost impact. Cost index equal to 1. So it's all about time. Because cost index is 1. So no problem. Yes, please.
But if we have used a revised approach for the cost, why don't we use a revised approach also for time and completion?
We did.
But for future tasks?
That's correct. But as far as I understand, yeah, you're right. We should have gone, as far as we go with an original approach with the duration of all those tasks. Because the hardware, to me, the hardware, it's a little bit different task than all remaining tasks. This is procuring hardware, which is different from doing software development and testing. So I don't think that because we are late on the hardware, we're going to be late on other tasks that we were on time. So if the original budgeted completion is assumed, it's exactly this one with some savings on the hardware. So we can go line by line with an original approach, which is less expensive. And we assume that we are going to save money in total. As far as I know, we spend a little bit more money here, 30,000 more. It's likely we're going to spend more money in the software development, but then we're going to make huge savings on the hardware. And original. Let's try to do it. So CEAC would equal $330 on task A plus. What about B? B original budget was 540 over 0.93 plus the budgeted cost of the hardware procurement 300 with major savings of 1.71 on the cost index, right? Plus original cost for D, E, F, and G, and the original cost summation of original cost of D, E, F, and G accounts for 1 million. It's 200 plus 100 plus 600 plus 100. And the total is just slightly different. 330 plus 540 over 0.93 plus 300 over 1.71 plus 1,000. 2,086. And that's about direct cost. Right? That's about direct cost. What about overhead? So this is the do nothing option. We are making savings on the hardware, so this accounts for lower direct cost. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I didn't consider for F that was trashed. 100 more for F. It was not 600, but 700, because we crashed it by 2 weeks. So it's going to be 2,186. While the budgeted completion that we estimated was 200, look, it was 2,240. So it's a little saving. It's a little saving. We are saving little money. All right? Good. So let's go on with the do nothing option, which is our first option. If we do nothing, what happens is that the price would be, let's compute for, I'm interested in looking at the profit that we could make out of the project, right? How much is the profit? The profit is price minus this cost. So it's how much was price? The price is the first to its price. So price equals 3,806,000. Profit would be price less direct cost estimate at completion less overhead. Am I right? How much is overhead? How long is going to be the project? 40. 40 times 30,000. So it's 1,200,000. Good. So profit is going to be the price minus direct cost estimates at completion plus overhead, which equals $3,806,000 minus $2,186,000 minus 112. 420. Do nothing. 420. Do we finish on time? Yes, we do. 2 weeks earlier. And we're spending 50,000 to crush F. But risk doesn't happen now any longer. So maybe we could make some decision. Would you do nothing, or let's compare it with some other proposal. What would you do? Can we do something in a way that we can increase our profit? Crashing, not to crash, for instance. So now we're early, no risk. We could not crash F. We could just slow down because we're finished earlier. We're a little bit late, but still earlier than the deadline. So let's save 100. Let's have a longer project. We'd save 50,000 a week for crashing F, but we incur into 30,000 more per week of overhead. So in total, we could save 40,000. All right? Slow down, that's the solution. The opposite solution is slow down. Plus 2 weeks, longer project. If we slow down, the project will take a TEAC of 42 weeks. And the cost estimate at completion would be $2,086,000 with a profit that could be incurred of 40,000 more. So the solution is to slow down F and not to crash. Overhead cost, we can save 100,000, but we incur into 60,000 more of overhead. So we raise profit by 40,000, 20 a week. We save 50,000 slowing down, but 30,000 overhead, so there's 20,000 saving a week. And we could incur into, instead of 420 into 460 as a profit, which could be a solution. So we don't need to hurry up, but we just need to slow down by 2 weeks and still not incurring the penalty. Was it complicated? An hour and 15 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes. And now there's exercise number 3 for the remaining half an hour of time available. Usually there's 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours for the finals. Please.
Why are we not considering any more research for activity?
Because oh, by the way, we didn't consider that the client also will go to 29. Sorry. You forgot something to tell me. Let's read. Just want to get back to your... So, in order to answer your question, sorry. Issues have been solved and risk will no longer incur on the system setup. So no risk any longer. But we forgot something. Sorry, I forgot. Just because of shifting from computer to the board. The client is late by 3 weeks. You didn't tell me. We forgot. So in fact, duration of the project is how much? Okay. Now we have solved the exercise with this. Okay? Right? But if that would be considered, what would you do? We may want to crash F again by 3 weeks as to recover client's delay. But are we going to incur into penalties? No, because it's the client responsibility. So it's very, very similar to your teamwork activity. All right? Can I just stop at this time with the exercise number 2? So it's about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. Usually for your final, you've got a couple of hours, an hour and 50 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes, depends. So there's still time for exercise number 3. A large apparel retailer needs to design and develop a new e-commerce website. To this end, a software development company has been hired as a contractor responsible for both requirements design, coding, and delivery. An agile project management methodology has been agreed to be used to deliver the project. Please provide a short definition of agile project management in writing, a short definition in writing, and then propose the most suitable payment scheme for the contract and give your justification. So it's more theory here. It requires you know what Agile Project Management is. You've got 2 classes in Agile Project Management. We did the coin, do you remember the coin game, right? Then you could spend some time reading the Scrum guideline, which is part of the course materials. You know what Scrum is, which is one of the Agile Project Management methodologies. You know what is iterative development. You know what is incremental delivery of the project. You know what is a time box. You know what is a development team. You know what are the 4 values and the 12 principles of Agile Project Management. And the values are, do you remember the 4 values of project management? That working software is better than accurate documentation. That face-to-face communication is better that collaboration with client is more important than contract negotiations. Then, so you can elaborate a very quick, short explanation of what Agile Project Management is instead of traditional waterfall. And it makes sense that a software development is done using Agile Project Management because of changing requirements. Because the client would like to change the backlog of all requirements every time. Also in the late stage of development. And if the client makes changes to the priority of all requirements that should be delivered, what happens? People will work more time and priorities will change. So how would you set up the payment scheme? As the owner, how would you pay your contractor? Sorry? Please. There was some, maybe you were suggesting something, right? You were suggesting something? No. Who was suggesting? Cost plus? What are the payment schemes? Just review in your mind the payment schemes that you may have. Firm fixed price. Or cost plus percent, which is our opposite, or some form of cost plus incentive. Those are primarily the 3 categories of payment schemes. Which one would you use? You can also discard those that, to you, have a lower degree of suitability. So which one is the most suitable? You can say, well, we have three categories: firm fixed price, cost plus incentive fee, or cost plus person fee. Which ones doesn't work the best? Let's start with the firm fixed price. Would you pay a firm fixed price? A firm fixed price. In Agile Project Manager, what do you pay is the time people will work on developing the software. When budget is finished, when price is finished, and the firm fixed price will pay for what? For a certain number of sprints. Each sprint is 4 weeks long. You set up a budget that is likely to pay for all cost of development, for all requirements. If requirements change and there's no more budget, the development team stops and delivers what it was able to deliver. This could be used, but owners should know that the software may not be completed, and some of the should. You remember the MOSCO approach? The must have, should have, could have, won't have. If you've set up for a firm fixed price, some of the could have requirements will never be delivered. And maybe some of the should have won't be delivered. The must is the must. So maybe a firm fixed price is not the best solution. Vice versa, on the contrary, cost plus a person fee. Cost plus a person fee, would it work? The project will never end. Because changing requirements, the client will still keep on paying for more sprints, more sprints, more sprints, right? And so can you think about a cost plus a person, cost fixed fee, and some incentive in order to maximize the number of requirements that will be delivered each sprint, for example? That could be one of the options for your solution. To me, what's important is that you elaborate a solution and you demonstrate that you're a knowledgeable person that is able to understand the situation and then propose it for a suitable solution according to your perspective. Another option could be to pay for a firm fixed price per sprint, and the price at the end will be an integer number of sprints. If you would like to add more functionalities, you need to pay for an extra sprint. Each sprint has a limited number of storage points. Each sprint delivers an amount of predetermined storage points. But a cost plus some incentive would incentivize the development team to provide more to deliver, the more requirements as possible. So probably I would go, and in fact this is what happens in Agile Project Management. There's cost plus incentive fee systems. All costs are reimbursed for the hours spent, and then the more you deliver in a short time, the more you get profit, which is a good incentive to maximize the value of Agile Project Management. So to me, the best solution would have been, I would go with a cost plus incentive fee. Human resources costs for all sprints will be reimbursed, but the profit will be according to how many of the requirements will be delivered. The more requirements are delivered, the more you get profit, basically. Right? How much would you have taken on this final test? You know it accounts for 18 points on the total grade. So it's 60% of the course evaluation in total. How much would you raise with your, I don't know, make a self-assessment? We still have more time. Would you like me to also go to look at having a quicker look at the second final last year? Would you? Right. At the end of this session, I'll post the test, the final material on the course website. All right. Second final last year was about 3 exercises. The first one exercise in project monitoring and control. The second one in drafting down a project charter. And the third one implicating a decision making. Let's start with exercise 3, decision making. Feel free to develop, to solve your exercises the order you want. You're not forced to go 1, 2, 3, but feel free. Your company is considering whether to bid or not to bid on the following project. If the bidder can complete the project within 20 weeks, it will receive a bonus of $20,000. But if the project delays beyond 23 weeks, it must pay a penalty of $5,000. What would you recommend? Did you attend last 2019 year class that was given by Giovanni on probabilistic scheduling? It's all about that. So if you didn't flew away from Torino in December and you were here, now you're experienced with doing probabilistic scheduling and PERT. What you got here is for all tasks, the optimistic duration, the most likely duration, and the pessimistic durations that are given with a 99% estimate, a 6 sigma estimate. Based on that, you know that we use a beta distribution, and you know that the average duration equals the optimistic plus 4 times the most likely plus the pessimistic divided by 6. While the standard deviation equals the pessimistic minus the optimistic divided by 6. 6 sigma. With those pieces of information on hand, you may want to calculate your plotting your error by using the average durations, then computing for the variance of the critical path, considering possible merge node biases. You remember the merge node problem? Because multiple paths may merge, so that the probability of the project is the multiplication of the probabilities of all paths merging into the final node. And based on that, you will understand how much is the chance to complete the project before week 20, how much are the chances to finish the project after week 23. And by difference, you get the chances to complete within 20 and 23. And you create a decision tree. And you go with, thank you, the bid no bid solution. Should we do that? Yes. You have some, I finished my paper, sorry, I forgot. You have some extra piece of paper for me. Sorry, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, perfect. Thank you very much. So you start. It's really complicated here because the error has been given not as an activities on the nodes, but as activities on the arrows. You remember? If you read my book, there's a chapter in the scheduling, and I've presented both the activities on arrows and activities on nodes in the presentation. Here the task is on the arrows, and the node is a start event and a finish event. So keep in mind that professors are very tricky, and I just would like to test all your abilities. And this is just to trick you a little bit. But it's not very complicated. Task A goes from 1 to 2, which are 2 nodes. But feel free to plot them as an activities of nodes, if you're used to that. I don't care. And, sorry, we also get normal distribution tables. I always give this whenever there's a need for doing probabilistic scheduling in the test. Okay. Okay, please take a couple of minutes of your time. You can do that. Plot and error. Then let's compute for all the. Then I have a solution in Excel. So I will then show the solution in Excel for everyone to understand. If I remember. But let's plot an error first. Sorry? I did a mess. Can I go back to the board? My error is this one with activities on arrows. Task 1, 2, task 1, 3, task 1, 4, then task 2, 6, 3, 6, 3, 7, 3, 5, then task 4, 5, then task 5, 7, task 6, 7. Each task is given an optimistic duration, most likely a pessimistic duration. I've got a solution in Excel. So each task, the expected duration equals the optimistic duration, A, plus 4m plus b over 6 for the expected durations, and for the standard deviation we get A, optimistic, pessimistic, B, minus A over 6. If I go to the solutions, I've calculated them for you. Expected duration is calculated as 5 plus 4 times 11 plus 11 divided by 6, which equals 10. Standard deviation 1. Variance equals the square of standard deviation. Right? With all those figures in hand, I'm just writing, I'm plotting 1, 2, this is 10, expected duration. 1, 3 is 10. 1, 4 is 5. 2, 6 is 7. 3, 6 is 5. 3 to 7 is 8. 3 to 5 is 4. 4 to 5 equals 6. 5 to 7 equals 8. And 6 to 7 equals 4. I just plotted down the expected durations of all tasks. How many paths do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, so many overlapping possible paths of sequences of tasks. Which make things even more complicated. Make things very complicated here. So far so good? Can I switch to computer and the Excel file for all calculations? If these are all the tasks with all expected durations, standard deviations, and variances. Now, what we know is that there are 5 possible paths. Path 1 goes from 1 to 6, 7. 1 to 6, 7. Path 2 goes 1, 3 through 6 and 7. Path 3 goes 1 to 3 and direct to event 7. Then we have 1, 3, 5, 7. Then we have 1, 4, 5, 7. And you can follow all those paths on an arrow. For every one of those paths, I calculated for the expected total duration of the path. And you know how to calculate the standard deviation for the path? You first need to sum up all variances and then the square root of summation of variances. Please don't incur into the mistake of summing up the standard deviations. You sum up the variances and then the square root. So, for path 1, 2, 6, 7, which I call path 1, the expected duration is 21. The variance is 6 equals 6. So that, look at the formula. The standard deviation is the square root of 6. 6, the square root is equals 2.45 as standard deviation. I did those calculations for all paths. We know that the critical path is path number 4, which is as long as 22. But there could be merging paths that have large variances that could impact. So, for each of those paths, I calculate the chances that the project could finish before 20. And you know the formula because it's 20 is the desired duration, 21 is the expected duration. So it's 21 minus 20. It goes to 20 desired duration less the expected duration divided by the standard deviation. And you get the z value, which is negative 0.4. And this can be converted into 1 minus 0.4. And 0.4 on the tables, 0.4 on the tables, 0.04 on the table. 1.04, sorry, just here. Negative 0.04 equals to 1 minus 65%, which equals 35%. Why 65%? You know why 65%? 1 minus 0.4 is 0.6 on the Z value. If we go here, $64 is 35, 64 is about here, which is approximately 30, 36, 35%. Which equals 1 minus 35 equals 65%. So here we do have 35% chances to finish before 20, but then we raise to 21% only, because the Z value goes to 0.82 if we want to have a desired duration longer than 23. So we get 21% chances to finish with longer project than 23. So chances that we finish before 23 goes to 79%, which is 100% less 21. So now we have 30 on path number 1, 35% chances to finish before 20, and 79% to finish before 23, with remaining 21% chances to finish after 23. Make sense? I did that for all paths. I realized that the chances to finish before 23 for path number 2 and path number 3 equals 99 6 sigma. So in fact what we need to consider is that the chances to finish the project in less than 20 days is the multiplication of all those probabilities here, which raises down to 3.52% chances to finish before 20. While we do incur into 55% chances to finish before 23. As far as you don't have an Excel file in the written exam, to me it was just important to recognize that the path that would impact are path number 4, path 5, and path number 1. And you may want to discard the path 2 and 3. Just to make calculations much quicker. At the end of the day, you can create a decision tree. A decision tree that has 3 possible statuses. If the project finishes before 20 days, it will give you a $25,000 bonus. But chances are very low, 3.52%. Another option is to have a approximately 55% chances to finish the project within 23. Sorry, just a second. I just go back to here. If the project stays within 20 and 23, no bonus, nothing. If it finishes after 23, a penalty of 5,000. So if I go back here, chances are with the merge node, where is it? Here. There's 55% chances the project will finish after 23, and in that case we would incur into a $5,000 penalty. But by difference, the difference is that we still have 41% chances that the project finishes in between 20 and 23. On average, the average value provides for an average negative $1,870 negative, which means that if we do apply for the merge node considerations, it's better not to bid, because on average, we expect to have a loss on the project. No bid. Now, just to let you know, if you did not consider for the merge node bias, but if you would only have considered for the critical path, solution would have been different. Solution would have provided for 25% chances to finish before 20, 64% chances to finish, 36% chances to finish after 23. So that's 64%, so the remaining 39% is the chance to finish between 20 and 23. If this is the case, you would rather bid the project. But the right solution was with the merge node. Final consideration. I have considered for the individual utility with all those outcomes equal to 1 for all cases, so you're indifferent to whether win a bonus, not getting a bonus, or getting a penalty. But if you would like to make things more complicated, you may consider that no bonus is a indifferent option. But if you get a bonus, you may have a utility which is greater than 1. And then multiplying the utility value times the outcome for you to change the approach. If you would do that, for instance, utility here could be, we are more than satisfied to get a bonus, we are indifferent to not getting a bonus, and we are very unhappy about getting a negative outcome for the project. If this is the case, you would also multiply times the utility each one of the cases scenarios, and we'll see what could happen if a individual utility function is added. If this is the case, and you're optimistic and you would like to win big, it goes to bid. It depends on your attitude towards winning, not getting anything, or losing. All right? Questions? Confused? Bored? Shocked? No. Right. Good. Happy? Not happy. Right? Anything more on exercise 3? You think it was tough? Lots time consuming rather than tough. Time consuming. Just explaining in Excel was about 20 minutes, 15 minutes in explaining. Doing the calculations, everything would take probably half an hour, 40 minutes. You can't. Just to let you know, for those that were just demonstrating that they could do good methodology and do the calculation with a critical path only, they got, I guess it was 6 points, maybe 5 points out of 6. And if you go with the merge node, you get the top. So that's, to me, it's really important you prove you're able to work with a proper methodology, you know what you're doing, and I don't care about calculations and whether you're really, of course, maybe it accounts for 1 point. All right. Project chart. You've been given the responsibility of organizing the career day for graduate students at Polito, which will be held on April 19 this year. It was last year, right? So there's a career day every year for graduate students. It's likely to be around mid-April, end of April this year for you. So you may want to get in touch with large companies, industries, professional associations to help you find a job or internship, a career day. So the project includes finalizing contracts with employers and organizations, setting up on-campus facilities, arrange for refreshments, hire an opening guest speaker, prepare advertising materials, and promote the event among students and interested parties. It's an event management project. You are requested to draft down the outline of the project charter, including essential contents. Assume project T0 signing the project charter this next Friday, March 1st. Keep in mind that the exam was on February 28th last year. So those are some data provided for you. Make sure that you are going to sign and be approved your charter on March 1st, which is the effective date of starting your activities. Budget will be based on grants from companies signing in, €2,000 each as a fee. And funding from Polito, line of spending for students, stage and job functions. Current standard values are €15 per student. This is how much Politecnico invests in the career day. Each one of you, €15 in a budget. Make an educated guess. So you feel free to make a guess, but don't make it wild. Make it educated. Think about it while making a guess. Make an educated guess on the number of companies signing in and students attending. How many students are there at Politecnico? Excluding PhDs, around 30,000. The graduate students are around 10,000. So if the total graduate students are 10,000, so just make it educated. I don't care about the figure you will tell me, but it's important you make assumptions based on a chart. Deadlines are given because we must be doing the career day on April 19. Assume intermediate milestones. Consider that the boards, the board of directors, the rector and the board of vice rectors and everyone meets monthly, last week of month. Make a judgment if their approval is required. The stage and job department has an available staff of 6 people. Their hourly gross rate is €55 an hour. Subcontractor are hired at €35 an hour. An external keynote speaker will charge €250 per hour of speech. Not hour of speech, hour of attendance, probably. Because hour of speech, the keynote speaker will not be speaking for hours and hours. Physical facilities are free of charge. Why are physical facilities free of charge? Because it's the assets, the university's assets. Lecture rooms, corridors, whatever, it's free of charge. Lay out all other assumptions you will make and clarify to secure approval from your executive sponsor, including your analysis and assessments. Would you be able to draft down your project chart? I'll give you an example. I did it for you. This is the project chart. Is it large enough to read? It's not. How to prepare a project chart. The what, the how, the why, and the draft content. So, typically a project chart includes a cover page. The cover page summarizes all most important key facts and figures. Did you prepare a project chart? You did, in your teamwork. So I would expect that you list the name of the project, you give a short description of the project, and the approval procedure. Who's going to approve? For instance, here, I would have, let's do this as, is it large enough to read? I can scroll down. So the name of the project, Career Day 2019. A description, organizing the career day for graduate students at Polito, an event aimed at promoting the job matching between students and companies' recruiters. One line, one sentence. Then, approval. Who's gonna approve? Do you know what the RASI matrix is? Who's responsible? Who's accountable? Who should be considered as people to be communicated information to, and who's going to be informed? The project manager, as an internal appointee, is going to be the responsible person. The accountable service is what is called career service at Polytechnic. Who should be communicated? Well, students' bodies and associations, the logistics service is just an example. And people that will be informed is the blah, 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 the board of directors. The context, background. Why do we do this project? Understand the perspective. Why do we do this project? Is to increase employability of the students, right? The goals. Please highlight critical success factors. Well, the goals is to have at least 20 companies. It's just an example. The scope of work. We should facilitate project planning and benefit realization. So, the scope of work is to finalize contracts with employers and organizations, setting up on-campus facilities, arrange for refreshments, hire an opening guest speaker, prepare advertising materials, and promote the event among students and interested parties. I just copied and pasted from the scope of work. Stakeholders. Don't you think that the project charter should also list all stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders? Students, companies, rectorate, Polito's administration staff, faculty and departments, suppliers. Good. Delivery system. How do we deliver the project? Well, we're probably delivering the project using an organizational chart, very simple. We're going to use a project manager that will be appointed and using a weak matrix. So we're going to have a project manager who will use personnel from different departments. We need someone from the logistics department at Polytechnico, someone from the student's office. So we are going to set up a team, but unfortunately at Polytechnico there's no project manager. We just need to have a project manager that will take people from the different staff in the different organizations that will help us doing the job. And we're going to deliver the project using a design, bid, build. We design the project, we hire suppliers, and suppliers will execute the event. Design, bid, build. Key milestones, the key milestones. We need to start, kick off the project on April 1st. We get to secure approval of the project management plan by March 25th. We need to finalize the contracts with the vendors by by April 8th. Not August because it's in April. By April, then we need to, the event will be on April 22nd, blah, blah, blah. You just write, and then we need what? We need the project budget. Well, the project budget, direct cost, overhead. Direct cost is just a it's an educated guess of how many people will be involved in the project. We expect the staff of the career office to be involved to 50% of their time, 6 people. We know they cost 55 euros each, blah, blah, blah. I just make a wild budget. A return on cost, a return on sales. And finally, all the constraints that we have with risks, independencies, and interfaces, and the issues that we may incur, which is a risk analysis. What are the risks that we may face? Well, we are facing problems with the fixed date. We can't postpone the project. We may be failing in attendance, because lower number of companies may be coming, so that our budget will not be met. So we may be having a revenue upside or downside, probably a downside. lower number of companies attending. So maybe having a margin at risk and we may fail to reach the budget. There may be other events in the Career Days program. And, maybe Polito has not enough sources of funding for us for the project. It's just risk analysis. This was a very detailed solution. We don't pretend to give this detailed numerical solution, but at least to give understanding what a project chart is, a cover page, a schedule, a budget, stakeholders involved, and risk analysis. Right? Project chart. Everyone will come with their solution. And finally, questions so far on the project chart? Questions? No questions? Final exercise number 1, project monitoring and control. Now it's time for you to work on that. As the contractor's project manager, you are managing the project given in the Gantt chart below, which was drafted using Microsoft Project as a software tool. The project is compensated based on a target cost plus incentive fixed fee payment scheme, where the fixed fee is worth €100,000, which compensates for both overhead cost and profit. Overhead cost equals 1,000 a day. Target cost equals the budgeted cost. Incentive equals 50% share of cost savings or any cost overrun that could be incurred out of the target cost. At the time now, and which is today, and today it's February 28th, 2019, which was last year's exam stage, you get the following report. Original duration, crash duration, target budget cost, cost after crashing, BCWP, BCWS, ACWP, so far, and we are into the project to see. Here, it's February 28th. It's the time now. The project started on February 1st. Activity A was finished, B finished, and you have all performance analysis. I'd like you to analyze actual performance and propose a control action if suitable. So very similar to exercise number 2 in previous exam. Last year for this exam it was given, I think, 2 hours and 15 minutes because it was time consuming. What would you do? I have an Excel solution just to make it quicker, but would you like to spend maybe 5-10 minutes on your own to do that, and then I can show a solution? I'll give you 15 minutes. So how can would you like to take a picture? Or I can post online. You have online access, right? So feel free to take a picture now. What I could do is that I can plot both tables. Right. Take a picture and then I'm posting online. It's a 2 months long project. It's a 2 months long project. February and March. So the expected original duration is 2 months. We're now end of February. We're midway into the project duration, original duration. Right? 1 month out of 2. Was A on time? Was A on time? Yes, it was. Was B on time? Yes, it was. What's the problem now? What about D? D should be in progress, and what happens? D should be in progress, and what happens? D has not started yet. What about C? C was supposed to be 15,000, and it's only 12,000. So what happens? Is it late, or are we on time, or are we late? We are late on both. C has been started, but it's late, and D hasn't started yet. Analyze actual performance, make your estimates at completion, and propose a control action if you need. Remember, the project is compensated on a target cost plus incentive fixed fee payment scheme. And you are the contractor's project manager. So your perspective is the contractor's perspective, not the owner. And as a contractor, which is your goal? Your goal is to maximize profit. So you would propose that solution that would maximize profit. Take your time. Would you like to take your time, or just go directly to solutions? Solutions. Or I may want to post the solutions, you go home, you take your time, you do the exercise, and you compare with solutions, as you wish. I'll give you 3 possible outcomes. Which one would you go with? Would you like to do it now and then get in solutions? Direct to solutions, or solutions at home? Direct to solutions, option B. Did you crash or not? Good. Solutions. Hope they're right. Hope they're right. Boom. Is it large enough to read? Is it large enough to read? Guys there? Is that all right? Good. Tasks A through H. Overhead cost 1,000 a day. Original duration. This is just copy and paste from the table. The contract. How is the contract compensated? How is the contract compensated? Target, cost plus incentive fixed fee. Is all cost reimbursed on a target cost plus incentive fee? Is all cost reimbursed plus incentive fee with a 50% sharing on cost of savings and cost overrun? And you would like to maximize your profit. Is all cost reimbursed? Cost is reimbursed plus minus savings or cost overrun. All right? Let's calculate for the schedule index. I didn't calculate for cost index. Let's calculate for cost index also. My first step is to calculate for the schedule index and cost index for all tasks so far. And tasks so far are A, B, C. What about D? D, the earned value is 0 over 9, so cost index, there's no cost index because the activity has not started yet. But we are very late. We are experiencing a schedule index of 0. Because the activity has not started yet, but it should have started. All right? So, if we do nothing, option 1, we do nothing. If we do nothing, what happens? If you plot an error, if you look, and it's here, there's path, look at the path. There's 2 overlapped possible paths here. Path 1 is A, D, G, H. A, D, G, H. Path 2 is B, C, E, F. A, D, G, H, B, C, E, F. The first one passes as long as 49 days. The second one is as long as 46 days. Sorry. ADGH was originally planned as long as A, D, G, and H was as long as 42. But path BCF, B, C, E, and F was as long as 42 as well. It was 43. Sorry, A, D, E, F. So the original, the longest of all paths was A, D. Why A, D, E, F here? There's a mistake that I have here. A, D, E, F. A, D, G, H. A, D, G, H. So there was a mistake. A, D, G, and H. 42. A, D, G, H. 42. And what about the other one, which was B, C, E, F? B, C, E, F. 42. In the original plan, there's 2 overlapping paths, and they are both critical. As long as 42 days each. Right. This is the original information we have. Original budgeted cost, which is the target cost, $152,000. Now we know that the project is going this way. Which one is becoming the critical path? We can start with calculating the new time estimate at completion for the path ADGH. 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 I'm going to use an original approach because I don't know whether a past performance of A would incur into future performance influence. So I know that the duration of A is going to be 20 plus the original duration of D, G, H. Why 20 is the duration of A, the new expected duration of A? Why 20? Why it's going to be 20? You know why? I made some assumptions. Why 20? Look, it looks like that C is late. And D never started. If D never started, it's because why? What happened here? It's because it's not started yet. So it's 12, and the duration of D should have been how long here? "13 days is A. D has not started yet. It's because A is finished now at the end of February. And tomorrow we can start D. So we are on time now with A, but in fact A was late in the past, and now it's on time because it's finished. That's my assumption. So I'm adding 7 days, has to go to 20 days, which is the duration of the work days in Microsoft Project for February. So the duration of A is 20. If I would update this duration to 20, D would start tomorrow on March 1st. So the new duration of the project is 49 for the path ADGH. And what about BCEF? BCEF equals to B divided by the schedule B, which was done on time. Look at how it was done on time B. Because probably the project started later. So I'm assuming that the project was starting later, and I would say duration of B plus duration of C divided 0.8, which is the schedule index, because we're experiencing delay on this task, plus original duration of future E and F, which leads to 46. So now it looks like that if we do nothing here, the path that will become critical is ADGH, with a cost estimate at completion of the average cost index to 152,000. A revised approach for the cost. Overhead that would be incurred is 1,000 times 49 days. Fixed fee is still the same. Target cost is 152,000. So price would be all cost incurred reimbursed plus the fixed fee less 50% of savings, of cost overrun, which leads to a profit of 36,000 and the return on cost of 16%. Now there's another option. Instead of do nothing, we may want to crash the critical path and crash the critical path down to 46 weeks. And to do that, we can accelerate the task that could be accelerated. If we accelerate the D task, D can be accelerated, which is the least expensive task to accelerate. If you accelerate D by 20,000, what you got is you just recompute everything. There's a new cost estimate at completion, which is 183, and it leads to 38,000 as a profit, which increases the return on cost. And finally, there's another option that is to crash both paths as to accelerate D, E, F, and G, leading down to 42, which would reduce profit to 14%. Now it looks like that the best solution that maximizes your profit and your return on cost is crashing the task D as an option to accelerate the project. So it's all about considering actual performance, estimating time and cost at completion, determining the profit, and figuring out whether it's better to do nothing and revising the project or taking corrective actions. I will be posting both finals texts on the course website and the solutions. So now you have multiple options to get prepared for final exams. There's 2 exams last year, 2 from 2018, plus a variety of texts of finals in previous years. So enjoy it. Don't forget to do your last assignment, which is about decision making, which helps you in getting prepared for final exam, and now we will understand why there's a 3rd assignment on that. I will see you again next week on Wednesday, and it will be your time to give the pitch presentations. So get prepared. Thank you for attending. See you next week. Goodbye.